Tim, welcome to Watch One, and thanks for logging on. Today we're looking at the Ulysse Nardin Marine Annual Calendar Chronograph, 40 millimeters in polished stainless steel. You can see this Ulysse Nardin on our website, watchyouwant.com. Buy it if you like, and if you like these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Watch You Want Inc. Now, this model, 40 millimeters on my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, is a perfect fit. This is beyond comfortable. This is almost transparent. This is the watch that disappears on your wrist. An absolute pleasure, a joy to wear, beautiful to look at. If you have a smaller wrist, even substantially under 15 centimeters in circumference, this is the complication for you. And I do emphasize complication. I'll get to the value proposition of this watch in a moment, but I want to talk a little bit more about the fit. Now, it does take the sports watch tack of shortening the lugs in order to maximize the number of wrists that the watch can fit, but at 40 millimeters, it's not really necessary to pare the lugs back so much. What it achieves is to emphasize the high ratio of dial to bezel. Now, this one is a little bit more directly inspired by the legacy of Ulysse Nardin's marine chronometer deck clocks than the Marine Diver series. So with the small, almost halo-like bezel and the broad dial, as well as the pared down lugs, you really do get the sense that you're looking at a miniaturized version of those old deck clocks on your wrist, and that's the aesthetic purpose of those pared down lugs here. But you still get the beautiful conforming end piece for which the Marine Diver and Marine series have become known. I want to focus on the quality of this clasp in just a moment, but for now I want to talk about this double-jointed, articulated strap system and conforming end piece. Now, it closes up the gap between the end of the strap and the flank of the case, so visually it's seamless, it's slick, it speaks to a high-quality, well-conceived design. But this insert, here in steel, creates double-jointed flexibility that really allows this watch to sit on a smaller wrist. You can see just how tight this watch can comfortably conform to a small wrist, even bowing inward below the point of the articulation if it must. Now, the strap is of excellent quality, natural vulcanized rubber. As soon as it moves away from the thick shouldered portion where it abuts the case, it tapers off for a nice easy flexibility underneath the wrist. Now, the long-running use of titanium on the Ulysse Nardin double deployant clasp in the Marine and Marine Diver series keeps this one nice and light, and yet very strong where it has to be. Double deployant makes it just a little bit easier to get off the wrist. You saw when I had it on my wrist before, it was just a little bit unruly until I opened the second deployant arm. That's what you get in a deployant clasp with twin swing arm action. It's just that much easier to open and close incrementally for ease of use. And with twin trigger release action, it's very secure once it is closed. Now, you can see Ulysse Nardin wants to remind us that its specialty in the old days of the marine chronometers was, you guessed it, chronometry trials, with no fewer than 18 gold medals, their dates and their locations of award listed on the case back. Within lies Ulysse Nardin Caliber 51 Annual Calendar Chronograph, and that warrants a special shout out because its features dominate the front of this watch. The dial is a beautiful matte, almost white silver. I can't call it white and I can't call it silver. I also can't call it flat because it does have a very slight, almost grained texture to it. It's very subtle but also very beautiful in person. Now, the tachometer slopes down from the bezel, so while this watch has a tall case, visually the progression from the bezel to the dial is nice. It's transitioned. That conical sloped tachometer chapter ring makes for a graceful transition downward, and it helps the watch to emulate the look of those old dished marine chronometer dials. Moving inboard, you can see Arabic numerals, black against that silver-white background. High legibility is the order of business here. Now, the watch is fully loomed, although the Marine series, as opposed to the Marine Diver, is more, shall we say, refined in appearance and less explicitly sporting in intent. There's no shortage of legibility day or night with this watch. It's not going to glow like a torch at night, but it's also not going to be unusable either. The features of this watch depart from the conventions of the marine chronometer, where the chronograph and annual calendar elements are integrated. Now, I'm going to start up the chronograph so we can see a little bit of that chrono action in progress, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the displays. Now, you have a 30-minute and a 12-hour register. You don't actually have a constant seconds hand. The good news is the Caliber 51 uses a modular vertical clutch chronograph system, so you can keep the chronograph engaged full time if you prefer to have that sweep center seconds, the constant seconds. Because it's a vertical clutch, there's no meshing of gears that you find in a horizontal clutch, so you can keep that system running without any undue wear on the movement. But there's that second element of complication where this watch really makes its value case is in the combination of not just an annual calendar, but a so-called big date or grand date system where you have double-digit date at 12 o'clock and a very discrete month indicator at 4:30. Between them, they allow this watch to only need resetting once per year as opposed to the 5 times per year of a conventional date-only system. So this is both a relatively complete calendar and a complex calendar paired with a chronograph, and a watch that, frankly, looks like nothing else in any other watchmaker's catalog. Ulysse Nardin has done a great job of distilling the design essence of its historic pieces that made the company name and scaling them down to work on a vast array of marine-themed watches, from the aggressive marine chronometers to the smaller, more traditional marine chronometers to the outlandish modern marine divers and maxi-marine divers, even this marine chronograph annual calendar. There's a lot going on in the marine category with Ulysse Nardin, and there will always be Ulysse Nardin marine watches in production, but having been built in the early part of the previous decade, this watch is now a discontinued reference and very hard to find. As ubiquitous as the Ulysse Nardin marine and marine chronometer and marine diver references are in the current catalog, you won't find one of these. Moreover, these are hard watches to find, as collectors of the brand like their combination of traditional elements and discrete size, with the good value of that dual complication. So when they pop up, they tend to go pretty quickly. And with 100-meter water resistance and the versatility of a rubber and steel with titanium, strap and buckle, this is the kind of watch you can wear all the time. It has the discretion of a dress watch. It has the fascination of complication, the ruggedness and versatility of a sports watch, and the comfort of something you would, quite frankly, prefer never to take off your wrist. Beautiful use of color on the silver base, a beautifully proportioned and beautifully knurled and coined case flank make this watch a stunner from any angle and in any collection. If you like this Ulysse Nardin Marine Annual Calendar Chronograph, you can see it in high-resolution images, our macros, our famous macros, on our website, watchyouwant.com.